I love Animal Crossing trivia, and you guys love Animal Crossing trivia, and clickbait title aside, let's jump into my mini-series, part 1 of Animal Crossing trivia you wish you knew. So, picture the scene. You're playing New Horizons, and you've just reset your island for the 100th time, and you're at that point where Resident Services is still in the tent, but Timmy and Tommy have just moved into their own shop. Then, you go into Resident Services, and you notice a cool little item that wasn't there previously, the indoor golf set. It's a cute little detail to show off the fact that Tom Nook has an interest in golf. But that interest clearly sticks, as once you have upgraded Resident Services into its shiny, permanent building, you can see on the shelves behind Mr. Nook's desk is a bunch of golfing magazines. The connection to golf appears earlier in the series, so it's not new to New Horizons. When talking to the staff in Happy Home Designer, whilst Nook is out of the office, they may mention the fact that he's probably out golfing. You unlock a golf bag item for fulfilling Nook's home request, and the loading screen for the Happy Home network in that game shows off an animation of Nook hitting a golf ball. You've got to love when they give the NPCs a little more personality. It's such a cute detail, no? Or should I say, yes. In Animal Crossing, if you visited another player's town and then reset the game, the next time you booted it up, your player face will be replaced with the face of a gyroid. I'm sure if this happened, you'd be quick to think the game is glitching, but that is actually not the case, as it's coded into the game to happen, almost as a punishment for you not saving. But luckily, the effect isn't permanent and should disappear by the next time you load up your save. Good thing too, because it's a little bit scary looking, especially if you had no idea why it's happening in the first place. On the subject of resetting, in the Japan exclusive Dobutsu Nomura E+, there was a way to visit Mr. Rossetti, Don Rossetti, or both in the Reset Surveillance Center if certain criteria was met. You had to have reset twice previously and at least once in the last 7 days. Then, on a random day, if you hit a certain rock, it would crack and break, allowing you to enter. It's a pretty cool Easter egg and gives you a chance for unique dialogue from these characters, but you also get to see weird stuff like this magazine with a mole in a bikini. Moving on. Louie, the gorilla, bears somewhat of a resemblance to Donkey Kong, and I guess the dev team played into this idea, as the original Animal Crossing, his default clothing was the Lil Bro shirt, which had a clear Luigi motif. In New Leaf, his clothing then was changed to the Mario tee. No prizes given for guessing what the inspiration was for that design. Some of the artwork for KK Slider's songs share similarities to real-life albums. For instance, KK Metal's design seems to be based off of Metallica's Ride the Lightning, and you could argue that KK Rock shares a resemblance to AC/DC's Back in Black. KK Technopop seems to take inspiration from albums by the German synth/electronic band Kraftwerk, specifically the albums Computer World and Electric Cafe. And the next one being completely unknown to me, but according to Nookipedia, the artwork for Steep Hill has a few references to the Japanese folk rock Keio Kyoku, in which the tune is based on. KK himself seems to be modelled to look like Japanese musician Harumi Hosono, who initially rose to fame whilst in the Keio Kyoku band Happy End. The Japanese name for Steep Hill is Nidanzaka, meaning 2-step slope. This might also be a reference to the folk song Muenzaka, Slope of Nothingness, by Masashi Sada. And naturally, the artwork reflects the slope via 2 ramps leading up on the cliffs. I managed to get Vesta as a villager for my all-sheep island, and the inside of her home is interesting. It gives me dry cleaner/laundromat vibes. Well, turns out I wasn't too far off, as she has somewhat of a tailor theme going on. Her Japanese name is Meriyasu, and roughly translates as knitting or knitted fabrics, and her e-reader card explains how she makes her own clothes. Every one of Vesta's home interiors includes clothing and a sewing machine of varying iterations, with the old sewing machine that features in many also being a required item in her Happy Home Paradise request. With all this clear interest in making clothing and fashion, it seems kind of baffling as to why her skill or job aspirations at New Leaf wasn't based around being a tailor, but is instead computing and archaeologist respectively. Taking a quick step away from Animal Crossing for a sec, takes us to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but very specifically the Wii U version, as an idle animation of Donkey Kong's sees him pull out a 3DS XL and start playing. You can hear sound effects for one of 4 possible games, those being Super Mario 3D Land, Mario Kart 7, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, and lastly, Animal Crossing New Leaf. In the Switch port of the game, DK pulls out a Switch instead of the 3DS, but loses the Animal Crossing Easter egg. I assume it's due to the port's release date being mid-2018, and so there was no Animal Crossing games available on the Switch, with New Horizons still being in development at that time. Still, it's always interesting seeing when Nintendo will include Animal Crossing in other game series. just shows the progression from its humble beginnings being a Japan exclusive N64 title to becoming one of Nintendo's heavy-hitting IPs. Spork and Jacob both have different names in the PAL versions of Animal Crossing, being known as Crackle and Jakey respectively, and honestly, I can't seem to find a reason why this is the case. I did try to find out if these differences in names also appear in Pocket Camp, but I haven't played enough to come across either of them, so if you happen to be from the UK and have found either during your Pocket Camp travels, be sure to let me know in the comments. Have you ever wondered why furniture is shown as a leaf when it's in your inventory? Well, it's down to Tom Nook and his species of Tanuki. This raccoon-like creature is a shape-shifting trickster, and would use a magic leaf to transform into a human. This is also referenced in the Super Mario series, but working the other way around, giving Mario a Tanuki suit or Tanuki features. Tanukis have also been known for transforming piles of leaves into money, so they can purchase alcohol from unsuspecting shopkeepers, only for the cash to turn back into leaves when the Tanuki has long gone. This ability to turn items into leaves is great from a game design point of view, as it means they don't have to design small icons for every single furniture item in the game, so obviously saves them time and effort to focus on other things. It does make you wonder though, if the furniture we're collecting in-game is real, or are we merely decorating our homes and/or islands with nothing but leaves transformed to trick us? In Animal Crossing for the GameCube, there was an unused item that was left in the game files, called the paper aeroplane, which is exactly what you think it is. Sounds like a really cool item in theory, as the player could throw the airplane by holding the Z button and then flicking the C stick. However, it is unused for a reason. In the rare instance that this item manages to spawn naturally in your town, you've got to be very careful, as pressing A over the item acts like you picked it up, and using it, as described previously, soft locks the game, as you can no longer control the player or open any menus. Knowing this, you might think to yourself just to leave the airplane where it is. I mean, it's a cool item that only a handful of people have naturally seen in their game, right? Well, here's the issue. Every time you enter and then leave a building within the town, the number of airplanes now double. This will continuously happen until the game starts to lag due to the number of items it has to render, or, worst case scenario, the game cannot handle it and can no longer load your game save. But fear not. If in the unlikely event you find one of these airplanes in your town, they can be easily disposed of by dropping an item onto the space that the plane occupies. You just have to make sure that you deal with them relatively quickly for obvious reasons. If you'd like to learn more about the technical side of the game and how this item can appear in your town, I'd highly recommend the video Hunter R did on the subject. Link to the video will be in the description below. Sticking with the first generation games, the Happy Room Academy, or HRA, the precursor to the Happy Home Academy, would award you 1,983 points for displaying a NES furniture item in your home. This is in reference to the year the NES was first released in Japan, albeit under its Famicom branding. In a similar fashion, gyroids are given 828 points by the HRA. This refers to a play on words with the Japanese name of Hanawa and Japanese pronunciation of 828, containing the syllables of Hanawa. Hanawa, of course, being the historical Japanese terracotta figures that gyroids are based on. So, my wife, Mumsy, has a small model of Isabelle and the town hall based on New Leaf. I always thought it was cute, but apparently it seems to be somewhat of a rare bit of Animal Crossing merch. It came as a pre-order bonus in Europe when ordering New Leaf, and I could be wrong, but I think Australia and New Zealand got it too. But apparently it wasn't a thing in North America. I always just assumed the US gets cool merch, so it's a tad surprising they missed out on this. If you are from across the pond and want this as part of your collection, don't worry, as they do appear on second-hand sale sites from time to time, but you may have to pay a pretty penny to get your hands on one. In New Horizons, and possibly other games, but admittedly I haven't had the chance to check, if you hit a musical instrument accidentally with a tool, or on purpose if you're an absolute monster, it'll still make the sound of the instrument, the same as if you had interacted with it, but this way it'll play an out-of-tune variant of the audio. It's little details like this that are a testament to just how much the dev team cared about this game, that they valued the audio design just as much as the graphical design. They could have easily just had the axe or shovel noise happen, but they went one better and added specific audio on the odd chance that you hit an instrument with a tool. Incredible attention to detail. Nindori, the ostrich villager, who I've briefly touched on the previous video, was designed to resemble an orange GameCube and had various references to such, like his shirt sporting a GameCube logo and his birthday being the date the console was released in Japan. According to his e-reader card, he is one of 4 siblings, and they even made a manga, Soriyuke Nindori-kun, showing them off. In the first page of said manga, he meets the villager whilst running laps and trips over, causing his lid to pop open. Whilst this worried the girl, he explains that it's normal from where he comes from, and he brings up his siblings, Violet, Black and Silver, all made to resemble the different coloured GameCubes. She makes a joke about if they're fans of a particular baseball team, referencing the limited edition GameCube design released to celebrate the baseball team Hanshin Tigers' success, or if there's a green sibling that's a fan of RPGs, referencing the also limited edition Symphonic Green GameCube released as a bundle with Tales of Symphonia. Nindori, who is shocked, mentions that they've just been born, which would then take the total siblings up to 5. I would love to see Nindori come back in the future installments of the series, and not just limited to Doubletsu no Mori E+. Maybe even see his siblings make their way into the series too. That'd be pretty cool. Thank you for watching my latest Animal Crossing trivia video. If you enjoyed and you're excited for the next part, be sure to hit like and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss the next trivia video coming out in the near future. They're a little bit shorter than my previous trivia videos, but that's to try and cut down the time in between the trivia videos themselves. Anyway, I want to say a massive thank you, hope to see you in the next one, and until the next one, have a good one. Cheers guys, much love.